sometimes people like to say like, oh, I want to keep them a secret, blah, blah, but I'm like, it's 2018. Are you really keeping them a secret, or are you trying to make sure nobody knows about them?
Head high, chest up, and catch that brain, 'cause beauty is my name.
What up, beauty gang? So today I'm finally bringing back a girl talk. I know it's been a while since I've had one, and I honestly want to get back in the routine of doing them more frequently. So first things first, if you have any girl talk topics and whatnot, please be sure to comment it below. But anyway, for the topic that I have today, I went on my Instagram live about a week or so ago asking beauty gang on there what girl talk topics they'd like to hear me talk about, and somebody had mentioned signs of a bad relationship, which I thought was a really good one, and one I haven't really touched on my channel before, like how to know like you should low-key leave type stuff. Well, I've done 19 signs of a F-boy or whatever, but that was more so like the dating phase, like different red flags to look out for before deciding to like commit yourself to someone, whereas this one's like you're in the relationship now, but you know, certain signs that you might be like ignoring or whatnot, you should probably pay attention to. But yeah, before I hop into this video, if you are new to Beauty Gang, you never heard of us or anything like that, girl, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the bell button, because we are freaking lit over here. You can check the comment section below. I guarantee there is someone or multiple Beauty Gang members who will vouch that we are hella lit over here. We're on the road to 300K. We having a 90s party / meetup this month. By the way, anybody who is planning to come to that, I hate doing long intros. I'm so sorry, y'all. Y'all know I don't do that. But just real quick, if you're coming to the 90s party / meetup that I'm planning for you guys in Chicago, Illinois on July 14th this month, this week is the last week to get your tickets. All VIP tickets are sold out, but there are general admission tickets still left, but they're kind of going fast. So if I were you and you're planning on coming, I would hop on that like today, immediately or whatever, whenever you see this, so that you have a guaranteed slot for the party, because it's about to be stupid lit. Like, we about to turn up, we about to turn up, we about to turn it out, we about to turn it out. Let me get it together. Okay, my bad. But yeah, in all seriousness, it's gonna be so fun. I cannot wait to meet you guys. But yeah, we're gonna just hop right into this video because I don't want to ramble anymore. I'm ready to hop into these signs. Hit that subscribe button and the bell button if you are new. Alright, so one of the first things I have down as a sign of a bad relationship that you might be in is if the bad is outweighing the good, or you're more sad than happy in the relationship, it probably isn't the best relationship for you health-wise, like mental health, emotional health, physical health. When you're like sad and depressed and like just feel like crap majority of the time, a significant other is meant to like build you up, empower you, make you feel good about yourself, you know, stuff like that. They're not supposed to be bringing harm to your overall health, you know. So if you find yourself more sad than happy, I feel like that's a clear sign that that's a bad relationship. And I think a lot of us girls get caught up in being this like ride or die type figure for our men, or you know, through thick and thin. And yes, through thick and thin to an extent, there's a limit, and I don't like that it's not really explained thoroughly enough to us females that there is a limit to the amount of quote-unquote unhappiness that is acceptable in a relationship. You know, like, people make mistakes, nobody's perfect, we as females make mistakes too, but if majority of the relationship you are unhappy, you might as well leave, especially if you're young. Not even especially, because a lot of older women think too, because they've been locked in a relationship for so long or a marriage so long, that it's too late for them to leave and try to start over. I'm a strong believer, if you are unhappy, life is too short to be wasting your time on someone who's not worthy or deserving of you and your company and your presence, you know, doesn't appreciate you. So that's one thing. If you're more sad than happy, and if it's more bad than good going on in your relationship, that's a sign, ladies. That's a sign. To me, another sign of a not so good relationship is if he never lets you see or touch his phone. I remember my first boyfriend was like, y'all, if I even looked at that phone for like more than 2 seconds, he would like snatch it and hide it somewhere, or just some weird, like, us women know that was something weird, and immediately my instinct was like, something's wrong with that, something's odd about that. But like, I just, on that dumb girl stuff, you kind of just write it off, or you make your mind believe it's not what you really think it is. That's another thing I haven't wrote down. I wrote down a list of things, but we need to listen to our instinct. Usually
9 times out of 10 we are right when we have like speculation or suspicion about something. So yeah, when he was doing that, I knew something was off, because that didn't make any sense why you would be hiding something from me in that way. That was just so serious. If I ever touched your phone, you would snatch it. Like, snatch it. Like how people be saying you're snatching my edges, snatching my wig. This Negro snatched it. For me personally, I was starting not to trust him when that situation happened for me, because it's like, what are you hiding to the point where I can't see it? I don't trust you because you hiding something, you know? That's a bad relationship if you don't feel like you can trust your significant other. Now, something I actually got hipped to in college, so I don't feel like telling the story. Maybe that'll be a story time another time. But something that's very like petty as heck and just shows the immaturity of men or boys. They're boys. If you're in a relationship and your significant other has not saved you as a contact, so like you're literally a number when he's texting you, when he's calling you, it doesn't say your name, or this is my own personal opinion, but if it's just your name, no emoji, no nothing to separate you from anybody else, I wouldn't say that's like grounds for I'm breaking up with you because my name is only my name. I wouldn't say that, but I do think it's almost grounds for breaking up if you're just a number, because boys really do that. And I found out in college the reason they do is because if they're like hanging with another girl that's not their main girl, or even hanging with side chicks and has another side chick, it's so that the girl they're hanging out with does not know who they're talking to or communicating with. You know, boys are, they think they're so smart. They really do. But yeah, that I feel like is a bad sign of a relationship, because it's like, what are you hiding? Why am I not good enough to be put in your phone and classified as somebody important? Like, you know, Josh has 2 phones. For one of his phones, my contact is baby, and it has a really cute picture of me as my contact image. And then the other phone is my queen with the crown emoji. He did this all by himself, for the record. I didn't tell him to do it, blah, 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 blah. Like, nothing. I didn't say anything. He did that all on his own. Feel like that goes to show somebody who's proud to be with their woman, proud to show that they're claimed and that they're a boyfriend, you know? Just me. I don't know if you're going through that. Don't say that African Beauty said that blah, blah, blah. That's why I'm breaking up with you. I'm just saying. That's a red flag to me. Another thing that some people might view as kind of like petty or like not a big deal, but because our generation, we're in this generation that's so technology driven and social media driven, I feel like if you're dating somebody, like relationship wise, officially decided to be in an exclusive relationship and they never posted you on social media, I personally think that's a red flag because of what I just said, how driven this generation is with social media and stuff. And social media is like, you show the very best aspects and parts of your life, you know? And I feel like for me personally, Josh is one of those aspects. He's definitely a great aspect of my life that I'd like to show off. So there's pictures of him on my Instagram, or pictures of him everywhere, all over my social media, and vice versa with his. So I just find it really interesting when like people are dating but they never post each other on social media. And it's so funny, fun fact on the side, like I be peeping when like celebrity men in particular, I know that they have a girl but they don't post, like you go on their social media account and there's nothing. It already clicks in my head like, oh, he cheats on her, like for sure. I don't know, some people might view that as a petty reason, or some of you guys might like kind of write it off like, no, it's not that big of a deal, but I kind of think it's a big deal. I feel like that's another aspect of someone trying to kind of hide you, because like I said, on social media we tend to post our very best moments in life, or important people in our lives and stuff like that. So yeah, I just feel like your man or your woman, whatever, has never posted you on social media. Not saying you should immediately break up with them, but I would say that I personally would ask, like, what's that about? What's up with that? You know, I don't know. I think that's a little weird. Another sign of a bad relationship, if this person acts very distant from you, like y'all not together in public, but behind closed doors he's all up on you, like showing you all that love and affection and all that stuff, bad relationship, honey. He is trying to hide you. He is trying to hide y'all relationship. He's trying to hide what y'all got, and then you over there looking dumb. Trust and believe, I have lived that life before, and like in the back of my mind, I knew, and I just did not want to believe it. It's a sad situation. And I know some dudes want to hit a girl with, when a girl asks him about it, some dudes want to be like, I'm not on that PDA stuff, or I don't want people to know about us, or B, ass. He is hiding you. Do not fall for it. Another thing that I came up with of kind of a sign of a bad relationship is when you guys have your quality time, you know, like maybe a Netflix and chill where you're really watching Netflix and like cuddling, not doing no other stuff. And if the person is like always on their phone or always trying to play video games, or just your quality time isn't quality, it's just like y'all are around each other but it's not like well spent, I feel like that's kind of a sign of a bad relationship. Because it's okay to be on your phone and stuff sometimes, but it's also important to be in that moment with your significant other and share that connection, talk about things, communicate, you know. That's how I feel like you grow a foundation for your relationship, through like talking and having in-depth talks. And if during that quality time you guys never do that, that's kind of a sign of a bad relationship and lack of communication. And without communication, trust me, your relationship will never work. Never. Another really good thing to look out for in terms of signs of a bad relationship is if you express your unhappiness about something or disappointment or whatever, and they kind of just write you off, or they don't even make any kind of effort to try to, you know, make you feel more comfortable or better or change whatever issue you had. That's kind of a sign of a bad relationship. It shows a lack of compromise within them, selfishness, and maybe they just don't care. And you obviously don't want to be with somebody who does not care about your well-being and your mental, emotional, physical, spiritual health, you know. So it's very important to have someone who is a good listener and actually cares about what you have to say and cares about your well-being. So if you express different concerns and stuff to them and they still just don't seem to care or make any effort, bad relationship. Another sign of a bad relationship is someone who is like always accusing you of cheating in some sort of way or flirting with somebody else or blah, blah, blah. And you know you're a faithful person. You know that your actions have always presented otherwise. You've never done anything to make them feel or think that they should be insecure in the relationships in terms of cheating. 7 or 8 times out of 10, they're the ones that are the guilty party, and they're just trying to kind of almost make it in their head like, well, because she's cheating, it's okay that I'm doing it. I don't know. There's a certain word for it, but it's almost like reverse psychology, to be honest. Boys really be trying it. But yeah, somebody that's always accusing you of cheating and you've never done anything, sign of a bad relationship. Even if the person is not cheating on you, it's still a sign of like lack of trust and kind of over possessive and clingy, and that's not healthy either. You need to be able to breathe in your relationship. If you're always worried about somebody concerned with you cheating on them and you've never done anything in that way, I feel like that's a sign not only of a bad relationship but a very unhealthy relationship. Another sign of a bad relationship is if they're always flipping a situation on you. So if you bring something to their door like, I don't like that you hold the door for me, and then he's like, well, I don't like that you don't let me hold the door for you, or like, no, that's not even a good one. But you know how boys like to flip situations sometimes? If that's constantly happening every time you have a problem or an issue, that's a sign of a bad relationship, and that goes back to lack of compromise and selfishness and just, I feel like, kind of ego too. I feel like that has to do with a person's ego and just never being able to accept their flaws and realize they're not a perfect person. So yeah, being with somebody who's just so, I'm perfect, I'm God's gift to the world, I never do anything wrong, that's a bad relationship, because that person does not show any signs of willingness to grow. And you know, in life we're always going to grow, no matter what stage of life we are, no matter how old we are. Growth is always a continuous thing, and if that person has just made it up in their mind that they have reached their peak, there's nothing for you to do. There's nothing you can do about it. That's a bad relationship. Another sign of a bad relationship, calls you out your name. That goes for you guys as well as your significant other. Neither one of y'all should ever be calling each other out your names, but especially just out of nowhere when he get mad at you or whatever, calling you a B and a just, you know, the different words. No person should ever call you out your name. That is unacceptable. That's a sign that he lacks respect for you, care for you, genuine love for you. Nobody that truly loves you will ever disrespect you in that way. So definitely a sign of a bad relationship. And to be honest, that's also a sign of verbal abuse. That's like the beginning of verbal abuse, in my opinion. Oh, now this one is kind of like, I wouldn't say touchy, but some people might not agree with it, but I personally think that a guy's friends, his crowd that he hangs around, because they have such a heavy influence on him and you're kind of like a product of your environment or a direct representation of who your friends are, if his friends just ain't crap, like cheat on their girlfriends, dog out their girlfriends, talk bad about women, just all that stuff, regardless of how good of a guy you feel like you're dating, that stuff still can rub off on him. And it's kind of like, if he's so different from these friends, how is he even friends with them in the first place, you know? Like, I don't know. It's kind of hard in a complex situation to be in, where you feel like you're dating a really good guy who's way different from his friends, will never treat you like his friends do. But it's like, at the same time, well, where do they correlate? Where's the connection? Because you can't really be friends with somebody who you don't connect with in some type of way, you know? So just be very wary and careful of that, because that can stem into a bad relationship if he's constantly around people who just aren't on his maturity level, or just very ignorant and immature. Like, it's just not a good fit at all. And it's a touchy conversation to have when you peep it and he doesn't. Like, he's gonna be very rebellious and against what you're saying at the time. But if he really cares about you and cares about you guys' relationship and making it last, he will make adjustments and changes and hopefully fall back, if not cut the guys off completely. I've seen this happen with my friends before. I've seen this happen with my personal relationship before. Like, friends definitely influence your relationship and how you act and how you carry yourself. So I'd be very careful and keep my eye on situations like that if your significant other has a friend group who is just no good. I feel like another sign of a bad relationship is if the person is cracking more jokes and digs at you than like complimenting you. And maybe let's even use the example of like appearance. If they're just like constantly saying rude stuff, there's a like line between like cracking jokes and ranking on each other and like just kind of like being verbally abusive. And I know this because me and Josh are best friends, so we started off with like ranking on each other, cracking jokes about each other, blah blah, but we definitely have a very defined line where like the ranking and cracking jokes about each other doesn't, one, hurt one another's feelings, and two, it's not done so much to the point where like we don't feel like we are attractive in the other's eyes, you know? Like, I know some people like to kid a lot and play around a lot, but you have to be very careful with your words, especially when you're in a relationship. I know for us girls too, we tend to really hold on to stuff. Like, it might have been the smallest thing that he might not have even peeped he like did or said, or it could be something from 6 months ago that Bobby said and you still remember it. It still affects you because you're still holding it in. I don't know if it's a sign of a bad relationship, but I know if that's something that you experience where you feel like your boyfriend is kind of like coming at you or ranking on you more than like complimenting you and uplifting you and empowering you, then I think that's a conversation that you should have. And if no changes are made, then that's definitely a sign of a bad relationship. Of course, another sign of a bad relationship, if your significant other is someone who is always trying to pressure you into sexual activities that you have verbally communicated you're not interested in or don't want to do or whatever, sign of a bad relationship. I think another sign of a bad relationship is somebody who's unappreciative, like for anything you do. An example of maybe you decide to take him on a date and like pay for everything. If there's no thank you that you get out of that at the end of the day, I feel like that's a sign of a bad relationship, because they show no gratitude or appreciation for something that you did not have to do. I know for me personally, that's something that I really want and need from my significant other, well, Josh, appreciation for stuff that I don't have to do, and thankfully I receive that from him. But I feel like if you don't get that, it can get very annoying and aggravating and just cause this built up tension within you, especially if you're not saying anything. So a sign of a bad relationship, I do feel like, is lack of appreciation. Something else I had to learn in my second relationship, so the one before Josh, is that it's hard, it's really hard, but if your loved ones and or family all have these kind of negative opinions about your significant other, it's probably true that they're seeing some signs and stuff that you're not recognizing. Or I'm not saying completely, I know there are some parents maybe that just don't like your significant other and they don't even have like solid reasoning, but I know for sure me and my mom have always been very close, very like best friends, like talking about everything with each other. And there came a point in time where our relationship kind of took a pretty big hit because I was with someone who she didn't really approve of. And at the time, I'm just thinking, you know, you don't really know the real him. I'm the one that's with him all the time and talking to him all the time. You don't know the real him. You don't give him a chance. Just all this stuff, which wasn't true because he would be over the house a lot. And my mom had multiple conversations with him when I'm there and when I wasn't, you know, stuff like that. And I just did not take her word for this isn't a great guy for you, just because sometimes you can be so in love and infatuated with someone in your relationship with them, you don't see the negative red flags that others might be able to recognize. If you have multiple loved ones and stuff whose opinions you value, like don't even consider the relationship, just any other life experience you've had, you go to them for advice or just whatever. If you have those type of loved ones whose opinions you value and they see negative signs in this person that you're with, I would not ignore that. And then the last thing I have in terms of negative signs of a relationship is honestly someone who is constantly trying to always talk to you, always be around you, always want to know where you're at, where you've been. That's a sign of someone being overly possessive and clingy of you. And I know back then when like I was in that type of situation, I thought it was kind of cute, like, oh, he always wants to talk to me and be with me and blah blah blah. But when you allow someone to do that and kind of just consume your life like that, you lose yourself in the relationship. And that's why a lot of us girls, when we end up getting out of those type of relationships, we don't know what the hell to do with ourselves. We just like, oh, he was my everything, how am I gonna live without him? So it's important to maintain your individuality while you're in a relationship, and also not let somebody take away your individuality by overbearing you with their kind of like attention, I guess you would say. I feel like attention is great, affection is great, but there's a limit to it, and sometimes people can like overdo it and be overboard, and that's a form of possession that you don't want to be a part of, trust. But that's all I have for you guys. I actually could have had like a lot more that I came up with. If you guys want a part 2, be sure to comment that below. And like I said, I do want to do more girl talk, so definitely comment below girl talk topics you'd like to hear me talk about. I'm gonna go ahead and do my post notification shout out before I forget. Alright y'all, so today's post notification shout out goes to From Niles to Curry. I hope I said that right, From Niles to Curry. Yeah, shout out to you. Thank you so much for being a part of Beauty Gang, and thank you so much for being a part of Beautification. Keep saying beautification, notification squad. If any of you guys are interested in possibly being shouted out, all you have to do is be subscribed to Beauty Gang, aka my channel. Hit that bell button after you subscribe so you're notified each time I post a new video. And then on every new video that you see of mine, go ahead and hashtag notification squad, notification gang, beautification squad, or something like that, or just something letting me know you're a part of that ride or die circle, you know, and you have the potential to be shouted out. That is all I have for you guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Again, I do want to bring back the girl talk, so don't forget to leave topics below for me. And yeah, until next time guys, bye.
Move your body cause you're loving the way that you walk. Move your body if you're loving the way that you talk. One time if you're confident. Clap 2 times cause you're on it. Never gave a damn about what they say, cause you handle all your business on a day by day. Head high, chest up, and catch that frame, cause beauty